The reason I'm breathing hard like that is because I know I'm in for a long night. Because Lucas was very nice enough. He sent a lot of money for me to do commentaries and reviews for both Avatar and Titanic. Now, I'll do Titanic first since that came out before Avatar. It is 3 hours and 14 minutes. I will warn you, there will probably be a lot of dead air because it's pretty much waiting for the fucking boat to sink, and then the fucking boat sinks. And I'll give credit, the technical achievements and such. But man, I am not a fan of Titanic. It's just not my kind of movie. But again, he did send a lot of money, and again, it's 3 hours and change. And then I'll probably do the review after this, just as fresh in my mind. But my God, this is gonna be something. But this is a paid request for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list, ranking, movie review, re-review, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. So I am paused at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Now, the version I'm watching, you have the Paramount Stars, which I don't know why this copy I'm watching is the Paramount Stars, because I don't own this film anymore, because this was a Fox movie, so maybe where I got it, where I'm watching it, they just put the Paramount one in front. So to sync it up, I hear music, and then we see the first images of the Titanic in sepia tone. And we see like old footage, a guy with 20th Century Fox and Paramount Pictures present. I forgot both of them companies did this. Well, there you go. No longer called Fox. For syncing, the next title, a Lightstorm Entertainment production. I do remember James Horner doing a good job on the score. I know James Cameron and James Horner had a falling out after Aliens because of how James Horner wanted to see more of a completed film, so he knew how to score the movie correctly, and James Cameron kind of pushed him and pushed him. Did a fantastic score, but that friction and animosity lasted a while until James Cameron saw Braveheart, and he liked the score, and he said, "Hey James, I'm doing this film. Would you like to score it?" And he did. And I think James Horner won an Oscar for this. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think he did. Now, these bits here, where they're excavating the remains as Bill Paxton, these I don't mind. I wish the whole movie was about this. Like a good version of Race the Titanic. Because James Cameron, he loves doing this stuff. He's gone down to the Titanic multiple times during this time period, so he knew about this. In fact, weirdly enough, no, never mind. I was thinking of something else. But this definitely reminds me of The Abyss in a good way. But yeah, rest in peace to Bill Paxton. Of course, worked with James Cameron on The Terminator as one of the punks. He was in True Lies as the car salesman. Aliens as Hudson. Now this film. So. But yeah, rest in peace to Bill Paxton. Been great to see him in this. I like that because that cuts the tension, that cuts the mood, where it seems like he's getting a bit flowery, pretentious with what he's saying about the voyage, and the guy's like, "You're full of shit." So I like. Sorry, I'm getting situated because I know there's gonna be a long ass sit. But I mean, the photography, seeing the remains of the Titanic. I mean, James Cameron would do this kind of thing and use these kind of machines. So. Enough of that bullshit. What's weird watching this though is, of course, God, what was it? What, a year or so ago? The submersible going to the Titanic, and it imploded. So it's weird seeing this, and it was something I think bigger than this, and they went down and so they had like a controller that was like a video. It wasn't this what he's using. It was like a. But I mean, he's using it for a different thing. This little drone thing, but it was tourists, and the guy's like using a damn video game controller. That doesn't seem like the most stable thing to use and utilize. So, but that was a shame what happened to the submersible. Just a shame. I know people, of course, asked James Cameron about that because he's been down here a number of times, and we're seeing right here the stuff he would shoot. And of course, James Cameron definitely knew about underwater photography after The Abyss, which I really do like The Abyss. I think it's a very well done movie. Just the idea of showing these things is kind of we show the aftermath of the death, the destruction, the turmoil, the remains, the debris. So we get an inkling of. You obviously know the Titanic sank, but you get more of an inkling of how things are going to be transpired. So when you get to the actual time period, those images are still in your head as is that build up, and you know eventually it's going to happen, but you're just waiting for the shoe to fall, so to speak. Where's it falling? Someone pissed off motherfucker threw it off the top of the damn off the top of the building and smashed someone's head in. I'm sure also if you're paying attention, oh yeah, later on we're going to show the piano that we see right here and show the other stuff. But of course, this is also where they find that trinket, which will then bring our character, who I think they say she's like the character's supposed to be like 100 years old, and then we get into the flashbacks of that character. You know, it's funny how Titanic is one of those movies where when it came out, it was everywhere. Everywhere. Like, biggest hit of all time, biggest film of all time. Everyone talked about it, so everyone had to see it. Won the Oscars. Highest grossing, most successful film. James Cameron won the Oscar, and he's like, I'm king of the world, which was pretty cringy of him to do and say. And when it came on VHS, you would see everyone have those two VHS tapes. Because the movie's so long, it's like One's like what, 1.5 or so, 2 hours, and then the other's the rest of the movie. So you got to have two VHS tapes for it. Ironically enough, years later, when I would go search for movies, if any place had VHSs for sale, they would have a copy of Titanic on VHS. Like everywhere I would go, there's a VHS of Titanic. It was like Jerry Maguire and Titanic. Those would be everywhere. And it's like, God damn, man. Maybe just some skin flicks. It's like we got some mud. You got some folders. Got some more money and dirt. You ain't got jack shit. I remember that Geraldo bit. Al Capone safe. When they opened the Al Capone safe and they went in, it was all this buildup, and they go in, and there's like nothing in there. Maybe a couple folders and stuff, but there's like nothing there. Yeah, porn. Porn from back in the day. I think there was something that they also had at the end of the film. There was some kind of friction about this diamond. I forget what the hell it was though. I'd have to look it up. Because I'll be honest, I haven't fucking thought of this movie. That's the thing. How many people have actually thought of this movie since it came out? I mean, think about it. You always hear, people talk about, well, what are the best movies of all time, and they do these lists, top 10, top 20. How many of them nowadays put Titanic on the list? I mean, it was like the way people spoke. This is an all-time American classic, and it kind of like E.T. Although I like E.T. more than this. E.T. Both very successful films that seem like everybody and their mom and dad liked, and nowadays, maybe it's just one of those things that so many people talked about it, so many people repeated it, so many people over and over again kept reiterating how great, wonderful, terrific the movie was, that people just got tired of it. And then it became kind of the opposite effect. Like, fuck that movie, Like, when you get so sick and tired of hearing about it, you just never want to hear it. It's like a song. When a song gets popular and again and again and again, they repeat the song on the radio, they repeat the song on MTV, and maybe you like the song at first, then like, oh, god damn it, this is like the 85th time it's been on the fucking radio. Can you calm the fuck down, man? So looking over this, Leonardo DiCaprio, of course, we haven't seen him yet. James Cameron's original voice was River Phoenix, but he died in 1993. The older Rose, who's going to come in here, that's Gloria Stewart. which she was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in this. I'm trying to see who this guy is. God, I'm trying to see who this guy is who's with Bill Paxton. I can't find the guy though. I'd have to look up another place. James Cameron convinced Fox to promote the film based on the publicity afforded by shooting the Titanic wreck and organized several dives over a period of 2 years. Shooting the real wreck for the film instead of simulating it with special effects would provide value. So he started shooting that in 1995. After filming the underwater shots, then he began writing the screenplay. I'm trying to get into... So I think if that's the character, Cal Hockley, he said he considered Michael Biehn, then offered to Matthew McConaughey and Rob Lowe. Well, offered to Matthew McConaughey, and then Rob Lowe said he pursued it. But I think that's the character Bill. Is that the character Billy Zane played? Sorry, I don't remember these characters' names. Yeah, Billy Zane's character. So film began July 31st, 1996 in Nova Scotia. I know the filming took a long time and there was a huge budget. Filming schedule 160 days. Kate Winslet said she decided she would not work with James Cameron again unless she earned a lot of money. Throughout, others left production and 3 stuntmen broke their bones. Yeah, the budget eventually became $200 million. They argued the extended link would mean fewer showings, less revenue. You want to cut my movie? You don't have to fire me. You want to fire me? You don't have to kill me. So that's why Fox got to deal with Paramount. and split the distribution rights. So Fox sold the domestic rights to the Paramount, and Paramount gave Fox additional $65 million for production while retaining the international rights. So James Cameron omitted the SS Californian, the ship that was close to the Titanic the night she sank, but had turned off his radio for the night. Did not hear her crew's SOS calls and did not respond to distress flares. A scene involving the California was cut because the focus is back onto that world. He wanted to just focus on the Titanic. In the original version, two people see the elderly Rose at the stern of the boat and fear she's going to jump. Rose feels she had the heart of the ocean diamond all along but never sold it to live on her own without Billy Zane's money. She allows Bill Paxton to hold it but tells that life is priceless and throws the diamond to the ocean. In the editing room, Cameron decided that Bill Paxton's character the audience would no longer be interested in him and cut the scene so that Rose is alone when she drops the diamond. Earned including revenue from 2012, 2017, and 2023 reissues, it earned $674 million in North America and $1.5 billion in other countries, worldwide total of $2.264 billion. It was the highest grossing film until Avatar. And I remember people were thinking this film was going to be a bomb. This was going to be like Heaven's Gate. But lo and behold, Cameron made it work. He had the last laugh. Critically praised. There are a couple of reviewers that didn't like this. Kenneth Turan said, "What really brings on the tears is Cameron's insistence that writing this kind of movie is within his abilities. Not only is it's not even close." He said the reason it won Oscars was because of his box office total. That's what I was looking for. It won the Oscars for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Costume Design, Best Sound Effects Editing, Best Original Score, Best Original Song. Kate Winslet, Gloria Stewart, and the makeup artists were nominated. So there you go. And yeah, that song, My Heart Will Go On by, oh my god, how the hell, Celine Dion. That was another one that, got played all the time. It's a good song, but people kept playing over and over, and he's like, God damn, man, do you take a break on that fucking song? So some of the actors we'll see throughout this. We have Danny Nucci, who's one of Leonardo DiCaprio, Leo's buddy here on the left here. That's Danny Nucci. He was one of the deputies in Eraser. He was a guy who's like the new guy, and James Caan shoots him on the plane. I think he's an A+ kid. He was in The Rock. He was in Crimson Tide. Other people we'll see. Of course, Billy Zane as the dick fiance of Kate Winslet. Billy Zane would be in. He was in The Phantom. He was in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. We'll eventually see David Warner. Rest in peace to him, who's in Waxwork. We'll see Kathy Bates, of course, who's in Misery and The Waterboy. Jonathan Hyde, who would be in the film Richie Rich as the butler. Eric Braeden, who is soap operas like The Young and the Restless. There's a lot of people in this. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at my phone though. I just did some info and stuff. Because pretty much just showing the ship, people getting on the ship, and then introduction to Leo DiCaprio's character. Winning the game. Chris, the irony, we're the luckiest. And if they never got on this, they would have lived a much longer life probably. But I mean, shots like that are really good. I will say, shots like that, the wide shots of the ship, are really nice to look at. But like the first 2 hours, well, I guess that's like hour and a half, is going to be those wide shots until the shit hits the fan. That's like the last hour of the movie. I think at the end of the day with this film, it just depends on how much you get into the love story. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet are good actors. I don't think they do a bad job. I just don't know if I need a 3-hour, 16-minute love story about them. Is that girl who passed by, is that Vasquez from Aliens? Maybe not. I know that's her real name. That's the character she played in Aliens, but I'll just put it that way. Yeah, Billy Zane playing a very pompous dick. I know throughout these productions, James Cameron was just a harsh, demanding dickhead for so much of it. That's why there's a lot of people that will go, I'll never work with James Cameron again. Oh, there's David Warner on the left there. In the back now. Well, now we're on Billy Zane, but pretty much on the left here, you kind of see, well, anyway. The other guy in the scene that's not Billy Zane, the other guy who's on the left now, that's David Warner. He was in, again, Scream 2, he was in the bad guy in Waxwork. May you rest in peace. Good character actor. I swear I thought they said Dick Elevator. I don't know why. Of course, why would it be called a Dick Elevator? Deck. But yeah, I mean, of course, James Cameron, he started off with behind the scenes doing some stuff for Escape from New York, some stuff for Galaxy of Terror, working on whether effects or other bits of behind the scenes. They did his hands a bit dirty. Kind of got his first start directing Piranha 2, The Spawning, but then quit, got fired, whichever story you want to look into on that. So someone else took over. So his first official film became The Terminator, which then led to Aliens, which led to The Abyss, which led to True Lies, and then led to this film. Oh, Terminator 2, of course. How could I forget? Terminator 2. And then True Lies. The Abyss is really the only one of those that didn't do the best. I think people thought The Abyss was going to be more of a harder-edged action thriller like Aliens or like The Terminator. They didn't realize it was going to be much more of a love story. Now, The Abyss, if I want to watch Titanic, I'd rather just watch The Abyss. That's the way of putting it. If I want to see a James Cameron love story, The Abyss I prefer. I thought, it's like an hour, well, I just depend on which version you see. It's still shorter than this film. I get more into the story. I get more into the supporting cast, the crew, the love story. I get more interested, where these older actors that were apart and they have this friction, and then throughout it they grow together. Michael Biehn is your villain, much more intimidating and scary. While Billy Zane is more of a goofy villain. I mean, I'm never intimidated by him or scared by him. He's definitely more of a goofy type of villain. Like, I'm very pompous, like. And that's the thing, James Cameron can take his sweet time, because when he makes a film and it releases, it becomes a huge deal. He took his time from 1997 to 2009 to make Avatar, and then it becomes the biggest hit of all time. Then he does Avatar 2, it becomes a tremendous hit. I don't know where it ranked as biggest of all time, but it was definitely up there. So he'll make Avatar 3, Avatar 4, however many he can and want to. He'll be set for life. He already is set for life. And they'll give him the money because, hey, the last two films he did were the biggest films of all time. Made the most money, so. Well, those two. There's the big line, I'm the king of the world. It's weird, I haven't seen this film in forever. I think I did a video, why I don't like Titanic. But to be honest, I flipped through the movie when I did that. Because I remember and I just wanted to get the gist of it. This is like the first in a long time I'm seeing it all the way through from beginning to end. And I still have 2 hours and 41 minutes left. Jesus Christ. Even I'm like, does it have to be that fucking long? There's Jonathan Hyde with the mustache, and then he was Richie Rich's. He was the butler in Richie Rich. He was in Anaconda. Been a few other films throughout the years. I think he was in Jumanji. I think he was the dad, and then the hunter in Jumanji. I believe Jonathan Hyde was. There's Kate Winslet, good actress, and then you got Kathy Bates on the other side of the table. Kathy Bates, I mean, great actress. Like I said, Misery is a wonderful performance. Same with various other films she's been in. I always say for Misery. Tries to get the idea that she's not happy about this, but she's kind of been forced to do this, to be with this rich guy, to have a ball and chain, kind of just trapped. So she's with the person she doesn't love and is kind of forced into it, and then she falls in love with this kid who true love blossoms, all that stuff. So here we get a hint of him drawing, so this kind of maybe points to the viewer, okay, he's the one who draws Kate Winslet later on. Actress Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, man, look how his career has gone on. I mean, before this, I mean, he was. That's crazy how life, you never know what to expect. Just a few years before this, what, like, this was 97. Like, 3, 4 years before this, he was in Critters 4. No, 3. Critters 3. He was in Critters 3. That's the one in the city. Critters 4 is when they. I mean, they were always aliens. So I don't know. It's like, oh my god, they went into space? I'm like, yeah, they're aliens. They were in space at the beginning of the first Critters movie. Like, people tend to forget that. Oh my god, I can't believe they went into space. I'm like, they're aliens. That's like being mad at the Xenomorph movie. Oh my god, it's in space? Yeah, you know. Aliens tend to be in space sometimes. Like, people tend to forget that, but yeah, Critters 3, when they were in the big city. Well, the poster, the cover, the VHS cover is like they're in the big city, but really they were just in one apartment building. But I liked the 4 Critters films. The ones after that, no, I didn't give a shit about the other Critters films. But those first 4 I did like. If I remember correctly, I think this is where she thinks she wants to jump. I think Leo stops her. I think. But yeah, think about that. 3, 4 years before this, he was in Critters 3. And just hanging in there a bit. The Basketball Diaries. What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and then eventually this film. And then you see what he's done since. I mean, he's worked with Quentin Tarantino once upon a time in Hollywood. He's worked with Martin Scorsese multiple times. There's the movie The Revenant. There's Christopher Nolan, Inception. The Wolf of Wall Street's a pretty good one. He's won Oscars. He's like done a lot of stuff, man. And is one of the more popular actors nowadays, to be honest. And back then, you're thinking, okay, well, you know, Titanic. Like, they did a good job in the movie. But it seems like Titanic, maybe they look. Some people may say they look more to the spectacle than the acting. But obviously enough people like the love story to go back over and over again, because there's not a whole lot of spectacle in the first 2 hours of this movie. So that must mean they must have liked the love story. So I'm listening to the dialogue. He's mentioning how cold the water is, which is kind of a piece of information that's very important for the near the end of the film as to why he dies and freezes in the water. Because he's describing how cold it is. So this whole thing about him describing how cold it is, and the irony is that this is going to be kind of his death much later on. Of course, there's always that fun conversation. It's like, why didn't she put Jack on the damn thing? There's enough room for two. Share body heat. There's enough room for two people. Some describe it like a Romeo and Juliet, although, I mean, it's not really truthful because in that story both of the characters die. Here, just one of them, but it's irony they said that because DiCaprio was in a Romeo and Juliet movie before this. The one that tried to be like modern Danes with Romeo and Juliet, and it's like trying to be modern and hip and MTV style, but they're saying the dialogue transcript, like the verbiage. Dost art thou, Horatio? They're talking like that, but yet all this MTV style editing and modern bits. And yeah, this film crushed a lot of movies coming out because no movie could compete for the longest time against this film. I mean, it came out December so '97, and when it got in '98, the first couple months, Titanic was still number one. Again and again and again. Deep Rising, which is another movie deal with a cruise ship. That film bombed. A lot of films bombed. They don't blame him. Why didn't right then and there she say something? She's still not saying anything. Now, what I said about Billy Zane earlier, that doesn't mean I dislike Billy Zane in the film. I think he does a fun job. It's just that if you're trying to make it that he's this intimidating, scary type of villain, then no. Do I think he's a fun villain? Just kind of snide and kind of joylessly a dick? Then yeah, he does a good job in that. But yeah, I did see this in the theater. I think that's another reason why I have a bit of a issue with the film, because I did not want to see the film in the theater. I had no want or desire to see this in the theater, but the family did, because it was this big event. Everybody's talking about it. And here's the thing. In 1997, we as a family rarely got to the theater, because the theater was 30 miles away or so. It doesn't sound like far, but yeah, I think 30 miles up, 30 miles back. That's a 60 mile round trip. That's a long time. It's pretty lengthy. And it's the middle of nowhere. You're going through a lot of just plain countryside in Iowa. So very rarely would we get to the theater from like when I was born to moved in, I think, 2002 after I graduated. Then moved from Iowa to San Marcos, Texas. In San Marcos, Texas, I went to the theater a lot more often because it was much nearer by. There you could take the bus, or hell, there's a point where I could just walk to it. And like within, I don't know, half an hour or less, I could get to it and enjoy the sights. Maybe even less of that, but like with all the movies that we could have seen throughout, I mean, like Deep Rising, I would rather have seen in the theater. Metro, rather see that in the theater. Like other films, but this is the one we have to see in the theater. I think Independence Day we saw in the theater. But like, Eraser, like see that in the theater, man. Some other movies. But did get to see End of Days in the theater. So that's good. Did get to see End of Days. That was a fun experience with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there you go. But I'm like, and then it's like, yeah, it's so fucking long. It's 3 hours long. And as a kid, I mean, how when I first saw this, 83, 93, I was 14 years old. I didn't give a shit about a 3 hour fucking love story. I'm 14 years old. I'm into like martial arts, action, horror. I'm into like Dawn of the Dead or John Carpenter's The Thing, or I'm into Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal and Rambo, and that's what I'm into. So it was such. I have this vivid not vivid, but this distinct memory of just sitting there. And I know in the middle I just had to go take a piss so badly, and went and came back, and I'm like, oh my god, when is this? I'm like looking up here like the screen, like, when is this going to be fucking over? Because you're 40 years old and you're like 30, 40 miles away from home. Like, no, about 30 miles. I'm like, this is going to take forever. I can't get home. I got to stay here. I just want to go home, do something else, play Nintendo, watch a VHS tape, watch Bloodsport again. Watch Predator again. I watch this fucking movie. At least here, like, I could pause. Yeah, I could do whatever. But at the theater, like, god damn, I'm like, when is it gonna be over? God damn it, fuck. So I had as a kid, I just hated watching this in the theater because it was so fucking long, and again, not the age to see. I don't know how many 14-year-old boys really gave a shit to see Titanic. Maybe you were. I wasn't. I was not. So yeah, I would rather have seen Tomorrow Never Dies. James Bond film, man. Like, let me see that instead. In fact, I'm gonna let this. I got the subtitles on, so I'll let this play out because I don't want to have headphones on for over 3 hours. I don't want to, you know. By the time it's over, this damn ear's gonna be sweating if I have that on for 3 hours. But I got the subtitles on, so I got the gist of it and stuff. Oh, if you hear background noise, that's not the movie. It's others. Some family members are over. But I figured I would do this tonight just to, you know. I still have to do Avatar, so because Lucas also requested a commentary and review for Avatar, so I still have to do that. But at least get one of them done tonight. At least we'll have that. So this is where he's showing his porno drawings. And he's going to draw you naked. See, only Leonardo DiCaprio and someone who looks like him could come up with this idea and not get shit canned for it. If someone looking like me went up to a lady like Kate Winslet and said, "Hey, here's some drawings of naked chicks I made. Can I draw you?" I would be slapped in the face and probably hauled off to jail for some bullshit reason. But if you're Leonardo DiCaprio, you look like him, you get away with that shit. So, yeah, try going up to a woman and say, "Hey, here's some naked girls I drew. Can I draw you sometimes?" With your titties out. Which, I mean, the amount of titties you do see is interesting for PG, but I guess because they're drawn, like, that's acceptable. So, if you have too many actual titties, then it's bad. Even though titties are good for you. Titties are good for you, man. They're good for you. Got milk. Make your bones strong and healthy. Especially the one between your legs. The ultimate boner. Make that bone strong too. But you do in a different form with the titties. Anyway. I think what it is like you do have some good actors, but I didn't find many of these side characters that interesting. Whether it be like Jonathan Hyde's character or this, like I just didn't find them that intriguing. And unlike The Abyss, which I did find a lot of those characters on the ship fun to be around. That's the thing. If you have a great cast, whether it be Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell, Dennis Dunn, Victor Wong, and then Tim Cattrall, and Tremors, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Michael Gross, Reba McEntire, even like you have these casts, the cast of Leviathan. Like I could spend whatever time there is with the dialogue and the pacing and the humor and the camaraderie. That I could wait however long for the monster or something else to show up. Here, though, unless you're absolutely invested into the love story, which some people are, and again, I think they do a good job. Like they did work together again. Was it Revolutionary Road? I think was the name of the movie. I can accept they did a good job without, but I still, for some reason, just don't care about the love story. I'm like, whatever. Is it the worst? No. Is it horrible? No. Part of me just doesn't care. Yeah, maybe because those memories back to the day of watching this in the theater, being kind of forced to do it. Whether it's because I do think the film just takes too fucking long. I do not think it needs to be this fucking long. I don't think you need a scene with them bonding by spitting, which they're doing now. Was this scene really needed? Like there hasn't been enough stuff before and after from the bond that you need. Oh, we need the scene where they're spitting. And the mom catches them spitting. Make sure to spit. See, that's the problem. You're a spitter. You should be a swallower. They're like, lady, swallow. Maybe that's the problem. You should be a swallower, not a spitter. also with this film, it also became the film that kind of signifies the change in James Cameron. Where before this, he was like the badass director, action, and just intensity. Even The Abyss has some intense scenes, like Michael Biehn, the chase at the end, not chase, but the battle at the end, submersible battle, T2, aliens, like True Lies, these big, either action films or stuff like that. And this kind of seemed like the start of the pussification of James Cameron, or as I call him, Jimmy Tammy. That's what it seemed like. He did his film, his love letter, won all these Oscars, accolades. And then afterward, it's Avatar, which is like a shitty version of The Last Samurai meets Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest meets a couple other films with unobtainium and this other bullshit in it. Once again, overlawn. I care even less about those characters in that movie compared to this. I would say I think Titanic is better than Avatar, but just because this, you see a lot of the wonder, the practical sets and stuff, at least stuff to marvel at. The CGI, people were so impressed by it in Avatar. For a little bit, yeah, but then the more you get used to it, the more it's like, okay, you start noticing more of the CGI the more you watch it, at least to me. And then the more I just don't give a fuck about the blue people who have sex with their tails and plug it in like a fucking phone charger, or whatever the fuck they do. So Avatar, I thought that film sucked when it first came out. I thought it sucked when it first came out. I still think that film sucks. So it's like you took all these years just to make Avatar, and now you just want to do all these Avatar fucking movies, and I don't give a shit about them. Then you want to say, oh, Terminator, I wish I never did that with so many guns. Just guns are bad. I'm like, dude, motherfucker. Hasta la vista, baby, shooting the gun. Stuart Weaver had a problem with guns, and you're the one telling her, come on, shoot it. It's the way for the character in Aliens. They're like, oh, guns are bad. I mean, no, the Terminator has nothing to do with fucking school shootings or any other bullshit. The school shootings are because those people are idiots, morons, dumbasses, and fucked in the head. If it wasn't any film, and they weren't blaming on Terminator, but I'm just saying, or Terminator wasn't to blame, but not movies. Movies are not to blame, or video games, because you take them out, it'd be something else. It'd be a fucking book. It'd be a goddamn Looney Tunes cartoon. It'd be some kind of scapegoat that they would use to further their own mental deficiencies. That's just my so the pussification of that, then his ironic state of AI for releases, which he made films about the danger of AI, but now he's such a sucker for AI. And I mean, it's fun to do AI posters for the shits and giggles, but does AI need to be used to look at your films and check the video quality? No. To me, they're not that fucking impressive doing that. The 4K I've seen of Aliens and True Lies look abysmal to me. So I blame James Cameron for that, because he's the head honcho controlling that shit. Then he's a guy who's like full of shit and did an interview back in the day. Oh, I liked Alien versus Predator. Then later on, oh, I don't like it. Now, I did. People can change their mind. There are movies that age better. There are movies that age horribly. I get that. But then say that part two. Oh, you know what? When I first saw Alien vs. Predator, I kind of liked it. But yeah, the more time was gone on, the more it just wasn't for me. Like, explain the shit then. But then it's like, oh yeah, Terminator Genesis is, or Terminator Darth, one of them is like, this is the true sequel, or the true this, and then didn't work out. Like, okay, dude, like, how many times are you going to change your fucking mind? So this guy on the left is Eric Braeden. This is a guy right here who was in the Young and the Restless soap opera. I also remember him as the villain in this Larry Cohen film I actually got right here called The Ambulance, which I like. Quite like that film. Starring Eric Roberts. Eric Braeden, that guy we saw with the mustache, he was the main bad guy in that. I forget her name. Is the poor kid trying to get with the rich guys and see how different classes and differences in personality, and how the guy who's been on the streets doesn't fit in with the pompous rich boys. I mean, granted, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with that many utensils as well. See, I wouldn't want to eat any of this shit. I'd be like, okay, if you want me to eat crackers, just give me some fucking cheese for the crackers, okay? Give me some cheese for the crackers, I'll eat it like that. Don't give me this other shit. But yeah. Damn, Kathy Bates will give you the devil eyes. Does the team think she's going to come over with a damn sledgehammer and just whack someone in the legs, break their ankles? Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm fucking tired already, and I still got 2 hours 11 minutes left. Jesus Christ. It's been an hour and 3 minutes. What has happened in an hour and 3 minutes? It's been, here's this old girl named Rose. She's telling this story. I wonder how long it took her to tell this whole fucking story. I wonder, like, think about it, the old lady is telling this whole story. How long did it take her to tell this fucking story? Like, I wonder, like, when she is telling Bill Paxton, these other guys, a story, is she including this detail with the dinner? Is she including, oh, we sat around dinner and he said this, and then Billy Zane said this, and obviously not, because how would she know the moments that she wasn't even there for? Like, okay, she's there, but like when him and his buddy, when they're winnings and they get on the boat, she's not around for that, so how would she know that? So obviously she's not telling those parts of the story. Or she wasn't there when Leo said, King of the World, so she wouldn't know that part of the story. So it makes you wonder just how much or how little of the story she's fucking telling during this whole thing. But I guess the idea is that she'll tell just the story, whatever. Now this bit here, when she goes up to Leo. I think this is kind of a little bit replicated at the end of the film, which I think the idea is that she jumped, she did whatever, and then kind of went back, and her soul, her life is back to that Titanic with Leo's character. Which I'd be like, why would you want to be on the ship that killed you guys? I'd be like, I don't want to be on this fucking ship. That's like, hey, you want to be on the plane that you died when 9/11 happened? No. I don't want to be on that plane. I don't want to be on this ship. I want to be on the beach, earning 12%. Or where the hell Alan Rickman said in Die Hard. So we did, what the rich people, how their parties are, and this is how the poor people, how their parties are. Much more joyful and rambunctious and fun and energetic, and Kate Winslet loving it a lot more. A lot more ecstatic. This idea, like with the ending, it's her remembering those times that she enjoyed. One of the best times she had was with Leo before the ship fucking sank. I do remember some bits of liking the last hour when the ship was sinking, just seeing all the practical effects and stuff, and how he was able to implement all that stuff. Although maybe it's not the last hour. Well, yeah. I mean, it's stuff washed up, stuff creaking, people trying to get on the lifeboats. There's a lot of stuff that gets entailed in that. So I don't know actually how long it is. I keep saying the last hour, but maybe less, maybe more. I don't remember. I really don't remember. Right now they're dancing. I had enough of people dancing nowadays. People dance in Sinners. People dance in that Final Destination movie. People dance. I don't know. I'm sure there's other fucking films that people dance in. I can't think of. So I don't give a fuck about you dancing. Stop dancing. Stop dancing. That's the thing, like, how many people are actually going to watch this film nowadays? Other than maybe you have those people that do stuff on YouTube where it's like their first time watch, and sometimes, like, somehow they're able to show snippets of clips and be perfectly fine with, YouTube perfectly fine with them. If I showed a 30-second TV spot, video would be blocked. But they can show splotches of the whole movie. This is 20 minutes. And it's like, well, what determines which scene is okay to show and what scene isn't okay to show? It's okay if I show this, but it's not okay if I show that. I guess maybe it's the length of time. If you have it short enough of time. So I guess 30 seconds is too long. I guess. Although I swear sometimes they have scenes that seem like they go long as that. Maybe not. David Warner's like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, the real Titanic. There have been a few films throughout the years that dealt with it. Dealt with the actual event, as well as, I mean, again, there was this film called Raise the Titanic, I think in the 80s, and it was supposed to be like this adventure story about raising the Titanic and the riches of this discovery, and that was the time they didn't know that the Titanic was split into two. So in the movie, they're trying to raise, and it's all in one piece because again, people had not done enough research and to go down there and look and see. Oh no, it was actually split in two, so it wouldn't be in one piece. That's a very boring film, though. I think the character in that film is the same character name wise that Brad Pitt, not Brad, Matthew McConaughey plays in Sahara. Was it Pitt or something? I forget his name. I mean, Billy Zane plays a good sleazeball. Plays a good sleazeball. I would bet this definitely helped him at least get Demon Knight playing the villain in that movie. And Billy Zane, I mean, he seems like a cool guy. I know my friend Fabio, I think, did meet him at one point and said he was a cool guy. I think. Or was it Stuntman Mark? Maybe both of them have met him. But, yeah. Whoever it was, they said he was a cool guy. So I'm doing my stretches. I just don't give a fuck about, you don't want to marry this guy, and then the mom is pissed off, and this is like free money for us. What the fuck you doing, bitch? We're getting free money from this. You're ruining it. You're ruining it. Well, goes in the poorhouse. I bet then fine, you marry him. You suck his dick then. You want it so goddamn badly. You suck his dick. You sit on it. Well, you don't want my old ass? Well, then that's not my problem. Find some Vagisil or some Clearasil or whatever the fuck, some Proxima, and go to work. That fucking button on her neck's almost as if she to press it, she'll beep. Like you had someone do with your throat and you had to put this in, and now this is my voice box. So you should got a voice box. Or maybe you pull it out, she deflates like a balloon. You know what? Yes, I know what it is. I'm just making a joke. Kate Wesley was in pretty nice shape, though. Gotta say. Pretty cute. Kate Winslet, pretty cute. Now, see, a lot of films, like, you see, like, how long they built this up. And you think, okay, maybe, 20 more minutes of this where you show a little bit more of the heat and tension where she's told not to see him again, and she decides yes, but she still misses the guy, and the guy still likes her, and then tensions build up, and then you get to the ship crashing, boom. What the hell do we do now? We gotta get the hell off the ship, close calls, chaos action, and keep going from there. God, I'm sorry, man. God, I can't believe I'm already this fucking tired. That would be funny if I fucking fall asleep in this chair, watch this fucking movie. That'd be hilarious. Give me the 20. I'll take it and walk away. That way, if I'm freezing to death, the bitch won't. There would be no bitch for me not get on the fucking door or whatever to and I could survive. God, sorry guys, I'm not yawning on purpose. The movie's still going. I'm just looking at some stuff to see if I can see anything trivia wise. My net. Uh, so I gotta respond to someone. Someone is leaving for Atlanta and just wishing them good luck on their trip. So sorry about that. Just want to do that before he goes to bed or something. So apologies. All right. Okay. Damn. Sorry about that. I don't know what the fuck happened. Like something wants me to stop fucking breathing and stop watching this film and stop breathing. Titanic trivia. At least to read something. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about reading it. Leave me alone. The elderly couple seen huddling on the bed while water floods their room were the owners of Macy's department store in New York, both of whom died on the Titanic. The girl, Ida, was offered a seat on a lifeboat but refused so that she could stay with her husband. As we have lived together, so we shall die together. There was a scene filmed that depicted this moment but was cut from the final version. It was her original line. She originally said, "Where you go, I go." That inspired was the same line in the film. James Cameron went on 12 dives to the actual Titanic himself and found seeing the sinking ship an overwhelming emotional experience. His first trip, he filmed the shots he wanted. When he went back to the surface, he broke down in tears after finally realizing the magnitude of the historical tragedy he just witnessed. He spent more time with the ship than its living passengers did. The post-sinking scenes were shot in 350,000-gallon tank where the frozen corpses were created by applying a powder on the actors that then crystallized when exposed to water. Wax was applied to hair and clothes to create a wet look. Gloria Stewart passed away in 2010 at the age of 100. and she was 86 at the time she did this. James Cameron was adamant about not including any song in the film, not even over the closing credits, since he often finds that they don't fit tonally. Composer James Horner, however, was struggling to end the movie on a strong emotional note and thought a song would be the best way to do it. He secretly arranged Celine Dion and Will Jennings to write My Heart Will Go On using the central musical theme of the movie as a melody. A demo tape was recorded with most of Fox's top brass in attendance, who loved the song. James Horner then presented the recording to Cameron, who responded very favorably, although he had no idea who the singer was. He included the song over the closing credits, and it went on to win the Oscar for Best Original Song. So wow, that's James. There you go. That's James Horner. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, I guess to mention, James Horner, I mean, he's a guy that sadly passed away way too soon. I think of a helicopter crash he was in. And I liked a lot of his score. Aliens being my favorite score he did. He did a good job with this one. He did a good job with Braveheart. Star Trek, a couple Star Trek films he did. Uncommon Valor, I think, is a very underrated score that he did. Uncommon Valor, I think, is one of his best scores. And granted, there were times that he kind of repeated himself, even or would use some of his older cues. Like, there's certain movies that you watch that's more action-driven or sci-fi driven, and it seems like there's pieces of music that he took from Star Trek 2 that he already done. Project X, which I like that film with Matthew Broderick, there's certain pieces of the music that sounds like there's original stuff, but then it's like, wait a minute, that sounds like it's from this movie he did. I forgot it went back to Bill Paxton. I gotta listen for Bill. Of course, I got it back right when that scene is over now. Okay. I put the headphones on to listen to Bill Paxton because I miss the guy so much, but as soon as I put it on, then... Well, I mean, that's my fault for having him off, but oh well. I think this is the scene where he's going to finally draw her naked. At $200 million, the movie cost more than the Titanic itself. The cost to make the ship was $7.4 million at the time, or $120 to $150 million in 1997 dollars. In 2012, 100 years after the Titanic sank, the entire wreck site was mapped for the first time. Until then, only the bow, stern, and areas in between were explored. After completing this, disaster investigator James R. Childs virtually and in 3D reassembled Titanic. He concluded that Titanic was not poorly built, was not built of inferior materials, and had no design flaw. She floated longer than her builders expected once she struck the iceberg. Even a modern-day bow, she would not survive the side swipe blow the iceberg gave Titanic that night. He concluded that the stern end lightly corkscrewed to the sea floor once underwater. So Gloria Stewart was the oldest person ever nominated for an Oscar until Christopher Plummer, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, All the Money in the World, who was 88. James Ivory, Best Adapted Screenplay, Call Me By Your Name, 2017, at age 89. And Agnes Varda, who did the Best Documentary Feature for Faces, Places in 2017, at age 89. The test audience was at the Mall of America. God, I remember the Mall of America. So the tickets to the showing were given to the audience at the Jodie Foster movie Contact. Ticket recipients were told they would see an early version of Great Expectations starring Ethan Hawke. At the test screening, the others were in attendance, but the theater maintained the ruse by not mentioning the movie by name, only referring to it as the movie you're about to see. The audience was silent for 10 minutes. They thought they were seeing like an extended trailer to the film. When it transitioned to the 1912 scenes, they were a collective response of joy. So that'd be funny if one of them was like, "What the fuck? I thought this was Great Expectations." That'd be funny if one of them's like, "Man, I was disappointed. I was hoping it was Great Expectations." Maybe you could be a smart ass and say, "Oh, I mean, who knows? Maybe there was one person that's like, God damn it." Because at least it would have been shorter. A recent investigation showed that if the Titanic had hit the iceberg head on, she would have survived. Though damaged, she would not have sunk and would have reached New York maybe a day or two late. That's interesting. James Cameron infamously threatened to fire anyone who would dare get out of the tank for a bathroom break while shooting the lifeboat scenes, leading to actors, including Kate and Leo, relieving themselves in the water. What a bunch of shit. I'm like, I need to piss myself? Really, dude? So she really did tell as much as she can, including this whole. Oh, I guess it's the drawing they found. So of course they'd have her telling about the scene where the drawing occurred. Okay. So when I got to the Bill Paxton scenes, I just wanted to just let's talk about Bill Paxton. I know he's only mainly at the beginning, and once in a while he pops up. But like I said, I was always a big fan of Bill Paxton. That's a good looking shot, I will say, of the Titanic. But it's the first time I ever saw him was in Aliens. Loved him ever since. Loved his character of Hudson. Normally, that's a character you would just want to die as quick as you can, as possibly can. But he really made that character fun and likable and funny, which is a hard thing to do. Because, again, in lesser hands, that character would have been aggravating. But he was great as Hudson. And then, I think the next thing I had seen him in was Weird Science, which he's really good as Chet. Okay, shit. Chet. My name is Chet. Love Weird Science, one of my favorite John Hughes movies. Watched that quite a bit back in the day. And then, like, oh, he's in the Terminator. Cool, he's in that bit part. And enjoying, what was it? Twister. I love the film Twister. Predator 2, of course. How dare I forget Predator 2. True Lies. I just Frailty. Frailty is a really good film. He starred in it. He directed it. And it was always nice to see him pop up in something. So just, and What Happened to Him was such a fucking travesty, tragedy and travesty. Supposed to go in for procedure. The doctors fucked up. Didn't do what the fuck they were supposed to do. And if they knew what the fuck they were doing, Bill Paxton would be alive. I think Michael Biehn, like he talked about for Ben, he used the words they butchered him. I think his family sued, and I think there was some kind of settlement. I think. Don't quote me on that. But it's a fucking shame, man. Bill should be here. You're nothing but good things. You heard nothing but good things about the guy. That's a guy they should do a documentary on. Like I see these documentaries on actors. Like I never saw it, but they did one on Val Kilmer. I got a request for one. I guess they did one on Gilbert Gottfried. I didn't know that, but I did get a request for that. I'll see that sometime. I think they're doing one on. I know they're doing one on Jim Varney. I don't know when they'll ever be released. I know they're doing one on John Candy, because Ryan Reynolds is like producing it or something. But Bill Paxton is a guy they should do one on. So here's them, being joyous and running around the bowels of the ship, being chased by David Warner and hiding out and bonding and other stuff. Now they're in the cargo hold. Oh, is this where the sex scene occurs? They hide in the carriage and then there'll be the steaming up sex scene. Yeah, I think so. I remember the steaming up the windows. I remember that bit. And it's not just because it's a lawn film. There are films I do thoroughly like that are a lawn. The Shawshank Redemption, The Batman, Heat. It's just not every fucking film to me needs to be over 3 hours long. And sometimes it's just a lot of fucking time to take within one day. So for me, if a film's going to be that long, it really has to be something I'm really bona fide sucked into. Heat, great crime story between two, Robert De Niro versus Al Pacino. And you have a hell of a supporting cast. I love that ending on the runway, the airport. You see the plane flying by in the background at nighttime. Shawshank Redemption is such an emotionally charged story of hope, and really, for me, that's a story that really gets my emotions driving full tilt booty. For some, it's this, and I get it. I think we might be close to getting the iceberg. I think. You might be close to it. Does I remember the iceberg straight ahead? I remember that line reading. Might be this guy that says it. Yeah, we're about halfway through the film, so. Yep, there's the steamy six. Well, at least he got laid before he died. You know, there's that. At least he got laid before, so I guess that's some positive. You know, you didn't know you were going to die yet, but at least you're able to get laid. Not everybody has that lucky break. We'll call it. Well, that part of the lucky break. The dying part ain't lucky, but you know what I mean. If you gotta die, at least get laid beforehand. I remember like there was these bot trailers for Titanic 2, and Leo was frozen and brought back to life. You know, just as a joke, as a goof. There is a movie called Titanic 2, but it has nothing to do with this film. It just, I guess, I don't know. I think there's like a modern. I think it was like a modern story, and the ship is called Titanic again. But you know what? I know I've seen that film, but I cannot remember anything about it. The only reason it was made is to have the audacity to call itself Titanic 2. But it's not related to this film or anything. It's related, of course, to the, there you go. Shut up, stomach. Gonna wait till the end. And then we'll eat afterward. We'll eat afterward. Well, then I have to do a review of this afterwards, so we'll eat after the review. Give me something to look forward to. Goddamn, Kate Winslet chipped a bone in her elbow during the movie. The actors are embarrassed by the performances. Kate Winslet called her American accent awful and felt that her acting could have been better. And Leo called himself a young punk in the film. I don't know. I mean, I don't think they were that bad. Up here's the iceberg. There you go. Iceberg, straight ahead. This is we're finally going to get so it is halfway through. I said an hour, but yeah. There you go. Iceberg, right ahead. Yeah, this might be. I can't remember when the first tape ended. For some reason, I think it was before this. I could be wrong, though. I mean, despite what I may say about James Cameron, or as I call him, Jimmy Tammy, getting pissed off about guns and producing bullshit like Terminator Dark Fate, and then Terminator Genesis is great. Then when the film comes, oh yeah, it's actually the movie sucks. I'm like, well, which is it, dude? Yeah, I give credit where he's very good at getting a team together, and that team doing some really solid technical achievements, technical bits. And so this is what fucked them up. I think that thing said if they hit it directly, they would have been fine. It was this that fucked them up. That's interesting. Because, yeah, I think Bill Paxton even said the guy didn't know what he was doing or the guy made a mistake. I think that's what Bill Paxton was explaining when we last saw him. Not last, but the scene before. One of the last times we saw Bill Paxton, he was explaining that. Yeah, that's when the stuff's really kicking in now. I think I remember in the theater going, finally, something happening. Finally, something's going on. Finally, thank God. But even this stuff here just reminds me of stuff I saw in The Abyss, and it didn't feel as fresh because, again, like this bit here, I still think of when Ed Harris has the thing and his ring blocks it, and he's got to pull it out, and then people being trapped on the other side. That was a pretty close call, that guy getting under there. That'd be funny. Someone took a piece and be like, put where, put it right in my drink. One of the few times I've ever experienced having ankle deep water is when I worked at I don't know why, it just reminded me of it. So this seems random, but when they got up and they stepped and there was like ankle deep in water, I used to work at a Target in San Marcos, Texas, where you go in early in the morning and you unload the trucks and you stock up. Well, there was a day where we all came in, and for some reason, I don't even remember how the hell this happened, the sprinklers, or like something happened with the sprinklers or something, and the fucking store was like flooded. As pretty much we spent like the whole morning just pushing the water out. Again and again and again, just pushing the water out. And really just be like just pushing it out to the whatever doors you can. Now I'm trying to think how it was flooded, because I don't think a lot of their equipment was destroyed. But I just remember us like literally pushing this stuff. By the end, like if you were wearing white socks, by the time you took your shoes off, they were black. Like the fucking, I guess, with the floor and all that stuff, it's the better going to be dirty. It was fucking black. Your socks became black. And you just throw them away. So yeah, that just reminded me of that bit of business. Which was, I can't remember if we still had to do the other job or it's like we had to come in a different day. So yeah, it was what it was. But that just reminded me of. Yep, he's been set up for a crime. And she just instantly believes it. Just, yeah, as if none of these people are willing to frame him. Like, you know Billy Zane, these people, you know they're ready to fuck you over. But you don't think that there's something fishy going on. Like, okay, Rose. So yeah, the initial iceberg event happens, but I don't know how long it takes for when the shit really hits the fan. I think soon because, yeah, they're doing all the planning and stuff. Does it think like Leo is trapped in the jail cell and the idea is it's flooding more and more. He's got to get out before he drowns. Here is explaining more. Like, this is the stuff that's more interesting to me. The actual flooding, where it's flooding, how long it took. That's the stuff more intriguing to me than the love story. So the guys explain how it's going to go level by level by level, and then that much weight is going to make it sink. This might be when the first tape ends. Around this time. For some reason, I could be wrong. I haven't seen the VHS tape in forever, but I felt like it was around here that it stopped and went to the second tape. I could be wrong on that, but let me see. Where does the first Titanic VHS tape ends just after the ship hits the iceberg, with Captain Smith and the others obviously realizing the ship will sink. Oh, there you go. It concludes around the point where Captain Edward John Smith says the Titanic will sink, or when the Thomas Andrews discusses the ship's fate, leading to a cut to black to prompt the user to switch tapes. So yeah, it was that. Leads to a moment of darkness and a visual prompt to insert the second VHS tape to continue the film. So, okay. Wow, I can't believe I actually got that. Like, somehow I remember that. So yeah, when he's like, the Titanic will sink, and the guy turns, and okay, time to prepare, and then like that was a cut. And I think Billy Zane getting pissed at Kate Winslet was the beginning of the second tape. Wow, I cannot believe I remembered that. I don't know how the fuck I did it, but I did it. That's crazy. And there's the other vague stuff I remember, like the band has been honored to play with you, something like that. And no, I guess that wasn't Jeanette Goldstein Vasquez when I talked about the beginning of the movie. I don't know, for some reason I thought I saw something. I'm like, is that Jeanette Goldstein? 'Sorry, I gotta respond. 4 hours ain't gonna cut it. I wonder who's thinking, should it just be women and children? I don't know. Let me think about that. Wedding dance, huh? I'd be like, fuck the band. I'd be like, I don't give a shit about playing music. Yeah, for me, I'd be like, fuck the band. I don't give a shit about playing music at a time like this. Yeah, okay, that's Jeanette Goldstein, isn't it? I swear that's Jeanette Goldstein right there. Maybe I. What did I check real quick? See, I like that woman who's the mother of those poor kids. That looks like Jeanette Goldstein. I swear it does. Yes, it is. Yes. Okay, yes, it is. It is her. Because I think it's the scene where her and the two kids, they're all going to die. So they decide to be in bed and sleep, and there's nothing they can do. They can't make it out. Which, I mean, the fact they said the women and kids, that's a woman and kids, but they won't allow the poor people to come up. What a shit show that is. Bullshit. Like, dude, that's women and kids. Why don't you let them fucking go? But, yeah, because they're assholes. Which happened, a lot back in the day, sadly. I'm like, yeah, what a dick. Not not the better half. What a guy, huh? What a fucking guy. And what a ditch. Just to be fair, I'd probably rather stay on the boat than go with that bitch. I'd rather be his whore than your wife. I can hear you. I can't do anything, dude, but I can hear you. What's crazy that this is all pointless if you think about this. Because he's doing all this to save him, but then if she went on the boat, she'd be alive and he'd be dead. Her doing all this, she's still alive and he's still dead. So all this is fucking pointless. I just realized that now. I mean, granted, trying is the deal. I mean, we're all gonna die, and you don't know you don't die right then and right there. So it's to show that her love and her care and all that stuff. But it's just one of those things. Just realize, yeah, it does become a pretty pointless venture at the end of the day. Because remember, the water is cold as hell. For me, this would just seem like a fun thing to do for a job. I mean, depends how that water is. If it really was cold and you could barely move and there's fear of hypothermia, that'd be a different matter. If it's heated in any way, But it'd be kind of fun to play around in water in that fashion. Tit the pipe. I would just keep titting the fucking pipe till it broke. I'd just be hard for her to tit, especially in the water. I do like the production values, I will say, with the way they utilize the water. There don't be fucking anyone here, I would think. Find some fucking tools. She would get herself lost. She's not even going to be able to find the way back. He don't give a shit. He probably don't die anyway, too. I would say take the time to find a tool and break the shit down. Now just imagine this whole place was haunted. I guess that'd be like Ghost Ship, but this movie is way better than Ghost Ship, I'll say that. Ah, okay. I mean, good as a item as any. I didn't like they said they had the the lifeboats. There's only half of them are gonna be able to be on. The other half, they're just gonna have to die. Nothing more that can be done. I forgot about this whole bit. This whole bit with her getting them out. Like, this whole bit I completely fucking forgot about. Completely forgot. And again, when you know the ending, it's like, this is all fucked. I mean, you say it shows her trying to help, commitment and love, so there's that. And sometimes there's those stories that you do the best you can, and the character just ends up dying, or one of them ends up dying, and if that's the case, do you still view it as pointless or whatever? Practice swings? She's not going to do it. That'd be funny. And all of a sudden, just cuts his arm off. Number one, did you just close your eyes? You're welcome. Also, I don't know if one axe swing would cut handcuffs. I just don't see that. If it was rope, maybe, but those were metal handcuffs. I don't see one axe swing getting the job done. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. I just don't see one axe swing getting the job done. I just don't. But yeah, this is just really the fact that they don't have enough lifeboats for everybody. Piss poor planning as well. Like you don't go out and if something happens, then half your group is gone. Like come on now. Yeah, fucking bill me. Yeah, if that was really a thing that we were sure the buck like that's such fucking stupid idiotic. Again, piss poor planning from the crew and all that jazz. Yeah, why isn't Jeanette Goldstein and the two kids why are they not fucking getting by? You think they would have a lot earlier. Like what were they waiting for? Like Jeanette Goldstein and the two kids, why weren't they up at front to begin with? I don't understand that. Unless they haven't, I missed it, or we'll see them later. There's a lot of things that, even that submersible that got fucked up and imploded. There was some piss poor planning stuff with that as well. And it's like, god damn, man. I mean, to be fair, I don't really blame them for doing this because I mean, that's just how it was back in the day. the rich get the privileges, the poor gets the shaft. But there's no reason that, the poor should be subjected to. But it's just how things were back then. And yet there are people that will, how do I put it? A person is smart, people are steered, stupid animals. They get steered, they get excited, they get filled with nervousness and create some bad decisions. Like this, the overweight, overdoing it, which would cause the thing to crash or buckle or break. See, they're not. You're like, what the hell are you doing, man? I was saying that one guy shooting the gun, he looks like. It looks like the guy who was Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four 2005 movie. I opened up my phone, looked, and made sure, but the guy that was firing the gun, I swear looked like Mr. Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four 2005 film and Rise of the Silver Surfer. Well, it depends. If he can't fucking spend it because he can't get off the damn ship, then the money ain't gonna mean jack shit, is it? Okay, sorry about it. I just have to. Curiosity's having me check this. Yep, it was. It was Ian Grufford. This guy here. Yeah, that was the guy shooting the gun. He was Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four 2005 film. He was also in What the Rock. What was that film? Was it San Andreas. And then he was in Bad Boys Ride or Die. That's right. So. Of course, he makes it out. Why wouldn't he? Because there's no reason to believe Billy Zane. No way. I don't think she even believes it too. Why wouldn't believe in Billy Zane? I know she gets off it eventually. Like I said, Billy Zane is good. I will say he is good in the role. He's a very sleazy guy. And here you hear the little semblance of My Heart Will Go On, score wise. Doesn't she get off and let the father get on? I'm trying to remember. I don't know why I'm trying to remember. It'll happen eventually. Yeah, My Heart Will Go On. This is this instrumental version. I think James Horner did a really good job in the score. I will say that. Very good job. Ooh, that's a nice slide there. Good stunt on that. Because you have to be careful not to break your damn leg or stuff or hip doing that stuff. Yeah, I guess if Michael Bean was one of the people up for this, it might have been thought of as maybe not too similar, but faintly similar, familiar with The Abyss. You know, playing a villain while things are getting underwater, that type of stuff. Good sets that they built here. You know, definitely has the steel to it. I'll give you that. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck's that kid doing? Why is he standing there doing nothing? Like, stand there ain't gonna do shit. He's just standing like an idiot. I'm just out there here going, da da. Well, move, run, walk. You have legs. Use them, motherfucker. Use them. You're the one that left your kid, dickhead. Yep, there you go. That's what you get, dude. I read up somewhere that Leo said if he ever did like another. He said if he did another action film, but I would say Inception is kind of an action film, but he wouldn't mind working with James Cameron again. But Leonardo DiCaprio is definitely one of those guys that at first was looked at as the pretty boy, be on the teen magazines, and then has definitely proved himself to be a really good actor as time has gone on. What's the harm? Yeah, what's the harm in doing that, dude? Deliver epilepsy. For those who have epilepsy, be careful of this scene. There you go. God, it'd be tough for me to fucking see during all this. I'd be like, I can't even concentrate to see the shit. I'm doing what I can. What do you want me to do? There we go. God, it's hard for me to even see this scene. Like, give me a fucking headache. All the flashing lights. I literally have to do this because I literally hurt my fucking eyes. Now, see, if you didn't fuck around and find out, you probably could have gone on a boat with your damn diamond and all that stuff, and you could have got all that settled. I think one of them does get shot. Definitely a guy who's at his wit's end. Yep, there you go. Definitely at his wit's end. He didn't even do anything, he was pushed. I like that little bit that he's avoiding the blood. Yeah, just break the boat. Because what do we need? We don't have enough boats. Yeah, we got enough boats. Just break some of them. Fuck you, why not? Just break some of them. What a conniving asshole. I mean, I guess smart of him. I gotta say, smart of him to do that. So good luck, pal. If you want to stay here, that's your, be my guest. Yeah, he don't know what the hell he's doing. Man, these guys just love giving up, don't they? They just love giving up. I'd be like, cut something down and try to float on that at least until help arrives. So yeah, the idea is that they know there's no way of them getting off the ship, so they're just going to keep playing. Just like, hey, might as well. Just do something you like or love before the end of it all, I guess. I mean, that is a cool looking shot with the captain looking. You see the water just rising, like right behind the windows. And you just put yourself in that situation as to like, what the hell do you do? To me, I would fight. Like, no matter what. Sorry, itching my nose. I wouldn't just give up. Damn fucking bug. I don't get, like, wasn't Jeanette Grossing and the kids right by the door and they said the women and children, so why the fuck didn't they get out? I don't get that. Because they were insane. They were letting that one girl out. And then people were trying to overcrowd them. But that was after, I swear, Jeanette Grossing and the kids were right by the thing. I mean, that's the thing. People get scared and they get desperate and try to figure out what to do next. And again, we're reminded of the earlier in the film when Leo's saying about how it's ice cold water and just like was it, a couple degrees below or something? Like freezing water, so you're not going to last long in there. I know this has been referenced a few times. I think it's been in. I definitely remember it in a Simpsons episode when they referenced the band. It's been a privilege playing with you tonight. I mean, that is a really cool shot, though. I gotta admit, that is a crazy shot, that wide shot, and the people going up, and a lot of that's done. I mean, as much on camera as possible. I appreciate the technical aspects of that, man. Like, that is a crazy wide shot. Like I said, this aspect here, I don't mind, where it's like the Poseidon Adventure, the Towering Inferno, that type of disaster movie. I don't mind that part of the movie. Like, this was the more interesting part of the film, this whole bit here. It's just that the first half just takes way too fucking long to get there. It just really does. In my eyes, in my opinion, it just takes way too fucking long. Oh shit. There he goes. So Leo's buddies are dead. Both of them, they're dead. You want to walk a little faster that valley there? That's a fun line. I mean, credit to all the actors and stuntmen doing all this stuff. There's just amount of, and a lot of this done in camera to to do as much in camera as possible. Which is part of the reason why it costs so much money. Now, are there some digital work? Yeah, of course. Like that's skyline in the back. Yeah, people just jumping. I'd be like, I wouldn't jump because that's longer in the fucking water. Like the longer you're on here for help to arrive, you know, instead of freezing to death. I think this is where around the time it breaks into. You know what's weird is that there's a video game called Disaster Report. I don't know why there's just because it's a future request is to play Disaster Report for PlayStation 2, a game I love. It's about you're like a reporter on an island and you are you're surviving an island that is sinking more and more as time goes on. What made me think of it is number one, that's a future request, but number two, what happens is if you do certain things to get the true ending is the two of you alone. Well, not alone, but they're not alone, but the two of you are just like these two together while there's water all around you and you're sinking into the ocean. That's like the secret ending. The regular ending is you getting rescued. So it's funny, like to get the secret ending is to get the more depressing ending, which reminds me of like kind of like being the two and sinking to the. Something about that just reminded me of this bit. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but it's not the same contest. But it just popped in my head. So yeah, Disaster Report for PlayStation 2. Fun game. Had to think about like which ending because again, there's certain things you have to do in order to get sorry to get that. Of course, the breath to remind people how cold it is. If it's that cold in the boat, how cold is it, in the water? Man. Oh, there's David Warner. I was wondering what happened to him. I was wondering what the hell happened to David Warner, but there you go. Yep, there's the breaking in half. Which again, for a while, they didn't even know it did that, but because they didn't raise the Titanic, they thought it was still in all one piece, but trying to find out, no, it did the similar to this, broke in half. Of course, now that Batcalf is pulling this thing down. I mean, great technical stuff. I will say, great technical stuff happening on this. I will say, but yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that people watch this film. They think of like, what would you do? How would you deal with this? So you live vicariously and the the I'm fucked attitude of what the hell else can I do in this situation. Like I said, this is the part of the film that I could deal with. This is the part of the film that I can get into. Just again, that adventure. I don't. Adventure seems like it has a fun tone, but the journey to survive, to escape, to do whatever in case of a disaster, and you just see just how well the technical aspects are done in this whole sequence. Also, you see a digital person, but there are some stunt people going through it as well. But I mean, smart decision to be on as long as possible and not fall in anything. I do wonder, did Leo DiCaprio's character need to die in the movie? I'm sure it's illicit, not the whole, but a little bit of Romeo and Juliet type of tragedy. I mean, although I think the whole thing is tragedy enough. Let's try to give people, that emotional gut punch and etc. etc. I think that was another thing that I'm watching the film and I'm seeing, this over 3 hour movie where it's a survival film, and then they're going through all this and she went all that way to rescue him and get him out and all this stuff, and then at the end of the day, the guy fucking dies anyway. He fucking dies anyway. And you see the breath coming out that once again show how cold it is. It's not just them being in the water. If they were in the water and it was, like a damn swimming pool, then they'd be fine. Unless sharks came in, it was like the story in Jaws, the Indianapolis. But it's not the case. It's the fact it's freezing waters and trying to find anything to stay afloat or get on. And this, yeah. There we go. Punch the guy in the face. I'm trying to remember, did Billy Zane make it out? I can't. He might have. I'm trying to remember now if Billy Zane made it out. For some reason, I think he did. I don't know. Well, I think this is the thing here. Like, okay, she gets on. Like, see how big this thing is? Look how big this fucking thing is. You can't, look how big this fucking thing is. Like they go, okay, he's trying to get on it here, and the idea it turns over. So I guess that was their way of trying to make the audience go, okay, there's no way he did get on. But I'm like, there is. There's clearly enough room for two people. Like, there's clearly enough room. There is enough room for two people. Come on now. Well, I would try a bit harder. Like, come on now. Especially if they're close enough by. It's like, you could get on there and be on there for that amount of time. Like, come on, dude. Even back then, I mean, this is before other people said online. Even back then, I'm like, that looks big enough for the two of them. What the fuck? That looks big enough for both of them to be on there. Yeah, there's Reed Richards in the 2005 Fantastic Four film. Yeah, and there's the people who have frozen to death. And yeah, if he lasts like there's enough fucking room for him to be on the goddamn thing. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the shit, dude? But that's the thing, like, what the hell was I going to say? When I watched the movie in the theater, I'm like, wait, so they spent all this time. Then he fucking dies at the end? Like shit. Like, goddamn. Yeah, this whole thing fucking pisses me off. Like, come on, man. Yeah, sorry I'm not looking at this because it just the whole thing fucking like kind of pissed me off. Like, really? Anyway, got itching. That has a creepy image. The woman with the baby. Oh yeah, this is where you find one survivor, Rose, of course. This is where it's like you fucking. There was enough room for two. You asshole. Well, at least you survived, I guess. Well, I mean, obviously you know she survived because she's at the beginning of the movie. So that's another thing. Like, I get why they did it, but when you have the opening like that, it takes away the suspense of her because you know she'll survive. So I mean, there's not really any suspense. Like you know, eventually she'll survive. I think more than likely people will know that. Yep, there you go. He's dead as fuck because you couldn't get his ass on the goddamn thing with you, you greedy bitch. Couldn't move your fat ass for him to get on there as well. I'd be like, okay, just whether lie on top of me, body warmth, anything. But no, you had to take the whole fucking thing. You had to take the whole shit for you. Like, okay. Like, yeah, you couldn't let him up at all. Come on, put some fucking oomph into it. Shout it out. Come on, baby. You gotta shout it out. Sorry, buddy. I know I could have had you on here and the both of us, but you know, better me than you, I guess. Trying to like find, yeah, I was gonna say find something and I would think just putting your mouth on that whistle would be literally just press it right to there and just freeze with the metal with how cold it is. You probably have to pry from the guy's lips. "20 boats floated, one came back." "6 out of 1,500 were saved." Yep. I bet that definitely pissed people off too. Like, wait a minute, Billy Zane survives, but Leo dies? I mean, granted, you just say that's okay. Like, that's probably the most unpredictable thing is that Billy Zane's character survives. Like, this is a guy that deserves to get killed, deserves a comeuppance, and he never does. He never gets a comeuppance. Now, him getting a comeuppance would be probably viewed as typical or predictable, but I remember that being stuck in my crawl too. Like, okay, so Billy Zane, he makes it, but Leo's character dies. I did just to give that more of a punch in the gut for people. But I mean, I guess you could say it's more realistic. Sometimes, the bad people make it and the good people. Sometimes the bad people make it and sometimes the good people don't. I probably sense that anger in her look too. Like, this motherfucker made it? Of all the people. Well, at least there's that. He apparently put a pistol in his mouth and such. Well, got to America. There you go. So I guess that idea is that, she went back for him and he saved her in terms of because of going through all this, she was able to escape the clutches of Billy Zane's greed and all that other stuff and able to live a different life because of that. So this supposed to have been where around the time when, oh yeah, I had the diamond all along, threw it away, and then he laughs and stuff. So I just would have been around this scene, but it's like, nah, we'll just have her be by herself. So I guess people will interpret like she jumped or she, or wherever the case may be. I guess it's up to interpretation. Because earlier she was at the end and ready to jump, and but kind of like a weird way to end the film. Like the person ends her life as if she has nothing left to live. I guess if you want to interpret that way. Now, why she didn't use that for her family or her kids or grandkids, I don't know. Because you would think that would have helped them out a lot. Like that right there could have paid for who knows how much stuff. So the fact she never cashed in for her family, I'm like, if I was her family, I'd be pissed. Like, what the fuck? Like, all the shit you could have done. Okay, so obviously she didn't jump. She's right there. So I guess, that you could say, maybe she dies in her sleep here or something else. So this shows her life, what she did afterward. A little bit of flying, a little bit of horseback riding. There's like some modeling or acting, whatever case. None of her like husband, funny enough. Well, or there was and we didn't see it. So I guess here again you can interpret that she's just having a dream, or she dies in her sleep and goes there. I'd be like, I'm trapped on this fucking boat again. That seemed like it'd be hell or purgatory. Well, I guess other than being with, Leo DiCaprio there. Although it's like, what about your husband? Your husband be like, well, I guess I won't be with my wife in the afterlife. She dumped me for Leo DiCaprio. If that's how you interpret it, I'd be like, well, I guess I got dumped. I don't even get my wife in the afterlife. Yeah, so you see the people that definitely died. The guy who shot himself, the other people. Eric Braeden from Young and the Restless. The guy the boat fell on, and then Leo. And whether this is welcoming her to the afterlife or whatever the case may be. Although it'd be like, fuck my husband, I'm sticking with this. Toodaloo, motherfuckers. I guess however you want to interpret. But yeah. And there you go. 3 hours, well, and 9 minutes now. And now we got My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't need to hear that right now. So, I mean, I guess that's the ironic thing is that, she didn't really want to sing at first, but that's probably, you could argue that's her most famous song, Celine Dion. That was her most famous song. But hey there. I'll do a review of this afterward. I just want to take a little bit of a break because it's been sitting here for 3 hours. But there you go. The commentary is done for Titanic. Does have some good aspects, but if I never see this film again, I'd be fine. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.